Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the weekly comic wrap. We're well, not even halfway through this week's haul, but let's get things off with Star Wars Dark Droids D Squad #2. Where we left off, R2-D2, who was currently unaffected by the Scourge, had tracked reports of a homicidal protocol droid, thinking it perhaps was C-3PO, but it turned out instead to be Triple Z, formerly a protocol droid in the employ of Darth Vader and also Dr. Aphra. Turns out that the Scourge, however, had affected Triple Z's astromech counterpart, BT-0. Also, in Bounty Hunters, 4LOM had escaped the Scourge on Cleason Station with Zuckuss basically covering for him, covering his escape from the said Scourge. So, we open with R2 talking with Triple Z, telling what's going on. Z is, well, Triple Zero is Triple Zero. And we find BT-1 going after attacking a unknown cyborg. But R2 and Triple Zero come up with a plan to electrocute BT-1 in the hopes that maybe that will force a reboot. R2 goes and distracts BT-1, gets his attention, and BT follows R2 right into the trap. And BT is electrocuted and seems to be shut down. But Bounty Hunter IG-88 shows up to claim the bounties on Triple Z and BT-1. R2 tries to reason with IG-88, and Triple Z even tries attacking him, but IG-88 takes him prisoner. 4LOM shows up though and explains that he wants the astromech, and IG-88 figures that 4LOM is referring to BT-1, but 4LOM states no, the silver one. And the cyborg that BT-1 was attacking shows up, now affected by the Scourge, wanting R2 as well. And that is where the issue ends. Admittedly, this has been a fun issue, as the writers of Star Wars tend not to translate R2's beeps and boops. Well, yeah. We have to just kind of assume from context clues what it is he said. But moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 37. Where we left off, Aphra and Just Lucky had managed to escape the Scourge and return to Domina Tage. However, Magda Talbot, a hybrid rebel operative, has been tasked with finding a missing rebel ship. So Magna and her team have made it through the Silver Arrow. The entire crew is dead, but they're wondering where are the droids, and does the droids come at them. Just Lucky and Dr. Aphra are aboard the Casus Belli, a Tage research lab And Dr. Aphra puts everything together, realizing the droids are the problem. As is Domina Tages, she's attacked by a bunch of security droids, which she takes out using field testing some of the experimental weapons. And all the droids turn going after Just Lucky and Dr. Aphra, as well as Domina. On the Silver Arrow, Magna's team is dealing with the Scourge, but they're all being, at the very best, taken. Aphra and Tage come up with a plan, basically crash the castle's belly into the moon below, obliterating everything aboard. Magna comes to aboard the Silver Arrow and watches as the last of her team is killed, while some of these Scourge-possessed droids come for her. Domina, Aphra, and Lucky manage to escape, though Aphra's got the head of one of the droids and figures it's the spark, explaining it's not the spark, but it's no longer the spark. It was, but it's become more the bond with something else. Realizing that Magna is a target of the Scourge. As Magna is turned, and joins the Scourge alongside fellow Hybrid Baylard Valance and Lobot. So, Shelley goes to ask for help from Sana, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting. It's nice to see Aphra and Sana reunited. Hopefully it's a bit more long. It lasts more than a few issues, but we'll see. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Predator vs. Wolverine #2. Where we left off, Wolverine is being hunted by a Yautja in the present, and reflecting on his past dealings with this particular Yautja. His first meeting being in the early 20th century in the Alaskan territories, where he thought the hunter had been killed by a bear, though that was shown to not be the case. During his days with Team X, he once again ran afoul of the Yautja alongside Team X. The Yautja, while Wolverine brought friends, so did the Yautja. And so Wolverine is having some taking time to heal, hoping that maybe the Yautja's moved on because he's been hiding. He's been getting the heat, but yeah, it's got explosive drones that go after him, causing an avalanche and causing Wolverine to fall into the water below. It's not good for Wolverine for multiple reasons. One, he's weighted down by the adamantium. Two, big old rocks are falling behind him, basically, which would land on top of him. And three, drowning is the one thing that can kill someone with a healing factor. So, in South America many years ago, Team X fights the Yautja. It turns out, though, that Wolverine did manage to take the Yautja Smart Disc back in the 1900s. Injures at least one of the Yautja. Creed basically decides to be akin to Blaine from the first Predator movie, minigun and all, unloading it. But rather than getting blasted with a plasma caster, he's with a spear, or with a combi stick, turns around and kills the Yautja the same way. Fellow Team X member Jackson is caught in a snare, gets her head caught in a snare, and then cut off. And has a bomb stuck on her body. Maverick the shrapnel barely misses Maverick's femoral artery, but Maverick manages to shoot one of the Yautja coming after them. The one that was shot by Maverick is euthanized by the others. The general that Team X was coming to take down is basically saying, "Hey, if you're against those things, we're on the same side." And so they work together. The general's men are pretty much wiped out by the Yautja, and their base is destroyed. The general is allowed to escape while Professor Thorne shows up to evac Creed, Maverick, and Logan. A few years later, at the Weapon X facility in Alberta, the Yautja shows up once again, making its way into the base, while Wolverine is undergoing the process that turned him into Weapon X. That is where the issue ends. I gotta say, this trip through Wolverine's past is very interesting. I'm digging it, and yeah, like this is honestly a lot better than I was anticipating for a Predator Wolverine crossover mini. Not that I would have been happy. I honestly would have been just happy with a one shot where it's just Predator, Wolverine, and a Predator going head to head for 64 pages of just bloody mayhem. But hey, we're getting more, and that's good. Moving on, though, to our next book, we have X-Men Days of Future Past Doomsday, number 4. Where we left off, Magneto had been crippled by the Sentinels. And, well, the Sentinels were still definitively winning. So, 33 years in, at the Bay Area Mutant Internment Center, there was an uprising. The central hub that controls power dampers at the internment center was destroyed, so a riot broke out. Included among the rioting mutants were Pixie, Talon, Sync. Talon and Sync were the only survivors. This is being discussed by the mutants in the Bronx, in the South Bronx Internment Center. They've got a time travel plan, though. Wolverine breaks Forge out of the raft, but there are too many Sentinels for them to both escape. Forge gives some blueprints to Wolverine and says, "Hey, this is what you'll need. I'll hold them off while you escape." Pieces of the device are brought in covertly. Days of Future Past occurs, the present day portions. Senator Kelly's assassination is prevented. Kate returns to the present, and nothing's changed. Magneto seemingly sacrifices himself to stop the oncoming Sentinels, but as they escape through the tunnels, Franklin's killed, and then the Sentinels catch up with them. while Wolverine, Colossus, and Storm break into the Baxter building, Rachel's keeping the still unconscious Kate, taking care of her. And we get the most iconic moment from Days of Future Past as Wolverine is incinerated to just a skeleton. Storm is impaled with a spike through her spine. But Magneto shows up, having made leg braces and a new helmet. Tries to save Colossus, but the last Sentinel crushes him. Magneto comes out as Kate comes to and states that, changing the past didn't change a thing. Which means they still have much work to do. While the nuclear attack was prevented, well, yeah. So 2 years later, Kate's leading the X-Men. An assault on Washington, D.C. The X-Men consisting of Magneto, herself, Rachel, Bishop, Synch, and Talon. And that is where the series ends. This was a good book. The Days of Future Past storyline is a classic, and it's a well that frequently gets gone back to. It's also been the inspiration for many of the X-Men's potential futures. But it's neat seeing kind of actually seeing how the timeline went differently had Senator Kelly been assassinated. It was a good miniseries. I enjoyed it. I really did. It was depressing, but yeah. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we have Marvel Zombies, Black, White, and Blood, #1. Like the other Black, White, and Blood books, this is a, it's an anthology. Each issue is an anthology. It's an anthology miniseries. Each issue has multiple stories. This time we got Undefeated by Garth Ennis and Rachel Stott, Hope by Alex Segura and Javi Fernandez, and Deliverance by Ashley Allen and Justin Mason. Undefeated. In Zombie New York, Zombie Daredevil is being kept as a cage fighter, an underground cage fighter, fighting other zombies, fed bits and pieces of people to keep his strength up. Punisher makes his way in. And says, "Hey, I can either stop, I can either end it for you now, or I can turn you into a walking bomb. Then you can take some of these animals with you." Daredevil gets turned into a walking bomb. Next up, we have Hope. It's the zombie virus is hit. Spider-Man is defending it. What remains the staff of the Daily Bugle has to fight off Betty Brant, but he keeps on thinking about just that hope that Aunt May and MJ are okay. Tries calling the FF, static. Tries calling the Avengers, static. There is eventually a reply from Hawkeye, but that comes through just as Spider-Man is attacked by Aunt May. And Peter takes his mask off to her, and she has a moment of humanity where she asks Peter to kill her. He obliges, however, she did manage to bite his arm, and Jonah tries to tell him to quit pretending to be to be a hero, and but Jonah just Peter tells everyone to run for their lives. Which brings us to our final story of the issue: Deliverance. Chicago, nearly a year after the zombie outbreak, Khonshu and Moon Knight are protecting travelers of the night. However, Hounds of Anubis show up, and then Iron Man shows up with Anubis. But Moon Knight does some damage to Iron Man, but is eventually is infected. Khonshu offers to help Mark, and takes down Iron Man, and Moon Knight feeds on the other heroes, or the other zombies. And the story ends, as well as the issue, with Khonshu telling Mark that he will soon rebuild Mark in his own image, but for now, the zombies must be finished. All right, fun batch of stories. I was kind of surprised that the Garth Ennis story, the one with the Daredevil Punisher, I expected that to have some more just dark, edgy humor. But it's nice. It is always nice to see that the writer that Garth Ennis can still do stuff that should do serious stories without going on to like I mentioned, dark, edgy for the sake of edginess humor. But that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.